for you now, obviously back then when you were proving that concept, if we fast forward to now, what would you say are some of the problems that you're seeing that businesses have? Because like you said, SMEs is the term SME for me is such a broad term anyway now, and it's a dangerous term because often it's based on size, but actually more and more companies now are being way more streamlined than ever in terms of having less size of teams and producing more. So it's always interesting when we talk about SMEs and, like you said, the micro businesses there, sort of below nine, that actually even those companies which were traditionally much more, I guess, local and, family orientated, that kind of thing, is now actually huge companies that are still classed as SMEs, which is interesting. But what problems are you seeing now in the marketplace from where you're sat?
Well, obviously, COVID's a big problem, and I really think the small businesses have had a bad break. I mean, you've got supermarkets open. Yes, we need them open, but what's wrong with a small shop having a few customers in? And what I also think, Stephen, the big problem is rents. The governments have subsidised the rents while this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
But the main problems they've got, obviously, is tech experience. How are you going to compete with a corporate when you don't understand tech? By the way, I don't understand plumbing. I don't understand electrician. Do you understand? It's not a case of
Yeah, we know what we
intelligence.
know.
It's a case. Yeah, we know what we know, and I would be stupid if I tried to be an electrician. I wouldn't know what to do. So it's in a different world. But also you've got things like websites. Now there's nearly 6 million SMEs in the UK. I know what you mean by broad term, because really the majority is the micros, 0 to 9, and they're the ones I really worry about. But the ones up to 50 people or even 500 people can be classed as small to medium.
Mm-hmm.
But they bring in half the economy of the country, so they're very, very important. So website, I think somewhere in the region of 1.8 million SMEs do not have a website.
Wow.
Now, so how are we going to go on pay-per-click? A lot of them can't afford them. All right, they're using, these people now, I realise what they're doing. They're using Instagram, and it works well for them. But also things like keywords. I don't understand keywords, they say, or search for display. Because if they go on display, the small businesses, they're not Heineken or Coca-Cola that gets good mileage out of display.
Mm-hmm.
They should be on the
these
search.
SMEs don't have huge
don't
budgets
understand.
for massive productions, things like this.
And also as well, little things like optimization, because they might cobble together a website, but then it's not optimized for iOS and Android. So they haven't got that skill. But the two main things I think, Stephen, are obviously money. We can talk about that. But time. Because if you're a small business, you get up and you're doing your work. You haven't got time to mess around for 2 hours, 3 hours on a computer trying to work out these things. And but money's the big one, obviously.
Well, time's an interesting one, but I would probably add a third one in that, in terms of awareness, because I think a lot of SMEs and the smaller type businesses just aren't aware of the tech that they can tap into. They aren't aware of the solutions that are out there, and I think that's because a lot of these solutions have a front, like on the front door of it, let's say, it just seems like it's very, like I said earlier, it's hugely overwhelming for a lot of people, and it's especially if they've fallen into business, which I think a lot of, that those 1.9 million people without websites are probably those that have kind of done it from a passion or fallen into these sort of businesses. How do you bridge that gap then? How do you bridge the gap between getting in front of these SMEs and then educating them to be like, well, actually, this is the right way to do things?
Do you know, Stephen, that's a really good question because that is what Tippzi is about. I mean, we want these small businesses to know we're there. Now, the hurdles we will get, and yeah, actually, it probably is the big barrier. A bit like the barrier of trying to get started, knowing the right people. Yeah. It's like these small businesses, they're very, very independent. They've got their own stream, and it's very hard to come in because they're getting people saying, "Hey, do SEO." they don't understand what SEO is,
Yeah.
and also they can't afford. And what happens? They can't afford hundreds or thousands of pounds or whatever. But what we do is the reason we're doing it is we are going to be £1 a day. Now, if you go on, if you're a micro business, you'll spend £200-300 a week. If you're what you said, an SME per se,
Hmm.
you can spend £2,000 or £3,000 a week. So £1 a day is affordable. But there comes the thing: you've got to help. You've got to get that social impact. A bit like Uber. Uber helped people, did something to help socially. So we're going to go about that element of being socially responsible, telling the people on the social media, hey, help shop local, help small businesses, join Tippzi.
Hmm.
Because there's nothing more important than the viral, using your TikToks, using your YouTube, using your live streams or whatever. But we want to get the message out there that we're cool, we're fun. When they see us more online, they'll get that more confidence. But
Yeah.
we need to push forward one thing, affordable. Because especially after COVID, Stephen, they've got no money. They've got no money whatsoever. And you're right, they're frightened of using these businesses because they don't know what they're going to get back. They don't know if they spend £100 a week, they might make £400 worth of business back.
Yeah.
They
If
don't.
they've never done it before, it's such an
Yeah,
untangible thing for them to go and do. But what's the biggest hurdle for you then? What's the biggest hurdle for you to get these clients on board? Because I think that's really interesting in terms of what we're talking about now and that mindset of them.
the most important thing always any business is trust. Trust. They must trust your brand. They must trust you, because they've got all these things. I don't want to mention, but you probably know there's a lot of what I call the coupon things doing deals.
Hmm.
And what people, the public, don't know is that they're charging the SMEs between 44 and 50%
Yeah.
of what they earn. So they're not making a margin. So when we go there and say, look, put a deal on here, £1 a day, they might think, oh, what's it going to cost me? They don't believe it's just £1 a day. So getting that across will be important. And also, we're going to do, because of COVID, we're going to do somewhere in the region of £250,000 of help, even with the real small business, 1 or 2 or 3 people, we're going to help them. That's why anybody who's listening to me, Stephen, if they're a small business, get in touch, or they want to partner with us in any way or whatever, just get in touch with me and we'll do deals, because this is the situation everybody's in at the moment. The world has changed in 7 months.